Well, welcome everybody. Looks like we've got channel members Craig, Will, Ivan, Sergio, Dan, Don, Svenborn, Lieutenant Colonel Goose, Rob, Arturo, Diane, Darren, Donald, Scott, Ted, Joy, Cliff, Nikki, Jerry. Good to see everybody. How's it going? How's it going this morning? FOMC day. We've been waiting for it. So interesting. I was talking about it 30 minutes of awesome last night, and I need to raise the screen up just a hair more, I guess. I've got this big teleprompter that sits right there, and that I talk to, and it seems like it sagged. Something happened, and it cut like my view when I sit here like this, cuts off like the top bit of the screen, so I have to dip slightly. I just raised it up like about that far, and because yesterday it was like I was like, what the heck is going on? And it's locked in, so I don't know why it would be sagging. It's kind of weird. Anyway, off topic, right? Anyway, last night I was talking about this needing to hold 5,600. We reopened. News about some sort of China coming to Switzerland to meet Bassett deal, and we get an 80-point candle on the reopen right there. Bigger than the whole range yesterday, basically. Absolute nuts. That's a bullish engulfing candle. But are we going to get continuation? That's the big question here. That's the big question to me. So we've got the low, we've got the high. Coming down to a 618. A key point here. Do we hold? Or do we break down below this 786 and indicate we're coming on down? At which point we have basically 5 down. That would be a wave 1 down. And that means we kind of lock in that high we had right back over there. All right, back here. We'll lock in that this is the high. So this would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, even though it's overlappy, 5. Sloppy. But that may be a leading diagonal down if that's the way this works. So key pivotal price action here. Do we lock in this high? Or do we set up the potential to come right back up here before we start the bigger correction? I don't know which one it's going to be. I'm going to put an alert right down here at 5620. Put an alert. Come on. Cool. Not going to let me put an alert. There we go. Sometimes it just has to be reloaded. Anyway. The lines I had drawn on there, of course, So this came down 1, 2, 3. That's a 3-wave structure. A little bit weird with this little pop and this little finishing move here. This move up, this retrace. We want that to hold. If we start getting below that 786, that's where the trouble comes in. Just to go back through everything. So we're in this, what I call danger zone, which is a measured bounce, essentially. So are we going to measured bounce up, or are we going to, get continuation down? That's the crux of the issue there. FOMC day today. Oops, wrong tab. Like I said, I can't see that top bar. That's why I keep clicking on the wrong tabs. FOMC day today. Wednesday, May 7th, 2025. Right here, we've got the Fed fund rate. Do they hold it? Probably. FOMC statement, and then Jerome Powell going to speak at 2:30. I'll probably do a live session for my channel members. I'll probably go live, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes before. We'll, hang out for at least the first part. If it gets really boring, I may wrap it up. We may stay live through Jerome Powell speaking. I don't know. No guarantees there. General Rush, good to see you, sir. Rongamer, Mark, Jerry, Pauline, Joseph, good to see everybody. So that's coming up today. If you are in any day trades, you might consider avoiding, if you're a day trader, you might consider avoiding this time period. It has been known for extreme volatility on both sides. Even if we go higher, it could dip, with big candles both ways, stop everybody out, and then set the direction higher. If we go lower, it could make a big spike up and down and up and then set the direction down. So we've been known to see large moves stopping people out before we actually make the resulting move. And now we're not going to move based on the FOMC. The news doesn't matter. Like what they do doesn't matter. It's just a catalyst for the next move. The market likes to wait for headline catalysts and then make its move. It's just kind of the way humans work. We've already got the parameters already outlined. We're in the danger zone. We're highly likely to make the next major move back down here. It's like somebody was asking me yesterday what I thought. I was like, I'm going to give it 75% likely, and this is real, 75, 25. 25% that we just break out and go higher. 75% chance we get this down here. It might be a little higher. It might be 80-20, but I'm giving this a 75% chance. So if you wanted to trade for this, XSP, SPX, SPY, do a put spread. Make sure you account for plenty of time, probably out to late May, June. We've talked about that already. This one, everybody loves SPY, but this one actually is tighter to SPX. No early exercise. You can never get, if you sell options on it, you can never get early exercised. There's no shares to get put. So it's cash settled, and 60-40 if you're in a taxable account. 60, no matter if you day trade it, 60% of your gains are counted as long-term gains, 40% short-term gains if you're in a U.S. taxable account. That's pretty sweet. So looking at this right here, jumping up to the daily. Dang, I'm always grabbing stuff. So what we're looking at, that low, that high, a potential move right down here. I would probably, if you don't already have this on, I'd probably use May 30th, if not the first week in June 6th, somewhere in that zone. I mean, look, this took a little while to get up here. This could take a little while to get down here. It could stop here. If you're going to play, and the one I suggested before was a 540, 520. Which is right there, 540, 520. Likely to get in the money. If you want to play more aggressive, you can. You can do a 550, 530, 20.1. I would do it as a buy the higher strike, sell the lower strike. If I was going to do it, I mean, you can just straight up buy a put if you wanted to. It's expensive. You don't cap your gains. But I think we're doing this move right here. It's a potential play. And we've gone through it's like an 8 or 9, potential to make like a 9x return. Realistically, maybe 4 or 5x. Yeah, everybody kept asking me, "What's your target?" I'm like, $20. Like a 20-point spread, $20. Like this. I mean, there's not like a I'm getting out early target on that. So that's potential and a way to play it. So and remember, all trading involves a substantial risk of loss. So just because I talk about it doesn't mean it's going to work out. You may lose all that money that you put in the debit spread. There's still 25% chance we go just blast off higher. Past performance, not necessarily indicative of future results. This presentation is intended to be informational, educational, fun, entertaining, not a recommendation to be buying or selling any financial instrument. So if you desire personal financial advice, if you're thinking I'm just telling you what to do, it's not that I'm just giving out an entertaining trade. Like, keep track of it, paper trade it, right? If you want somebody to tell you what to do, hire and consult a financial advisor and make sure that you trust them, because most people out there are just trying to make some of your money into some of their money and don't really care whether you do good or not. So make sure you trust people when you hire them. I mean, think about that. That's everybody. Everybody, no matter what you hire somebody to do. That's weird. Where did that come from? Anyway, there you go. That's a potential way to play NQ. Hanging. Same sort of pattern. Can we get that last little squeak? Or do we just start on the down path right here? I don't really have a preference either way. I mean, it would look best Elliott wave wise. It'd be best if we would pop one more higher high on NQ and ES before we do this. But we could just flush. If we just hover today, I don't know. It could be we could get a really fast pop and then a drop. So I would have all my plays in place before FOMC at 2 p.m. Eastern today. Russell didn't come up to the roadmap line. This looks like it wants to retrace right now. I mean, we could get one little squeak higher. Probably. I mean, it's possible to run up to the roadmap line too. This is possible. Possible to go up there before we do this. I don't know. I don't think we're just going to pop up here and hit this, but we could. Oil. Yeah. Keeping it ambiguous here. Staying below the 50%. Retrace right there. Staying below that danger zone. That can lead to continuation lower. I was looking for move down in the low 50s, possibly even 50. I expected something lower than that low right there. We didn't get it yet. So there's the market open. GC. Looky. Retracing. That's where I think we're going. I think we're going here. I bought some GLL yesterday, like I said I would. Went back on the ultra short. I actually, gave this out as a bonus trade. I booked profit here because I saw a potential. I saw this potential in the chart right there, and on the gold chart. So loaded back up yesterday. Looking for that pop back up here. That's still my target up there, but might take longer to play out. Like when you go back to the gold chart right here, you can see we're going to get this, and then we're going to do this right back up in, it's going to be choppy. So this would be time to book GLL again. This would be time to add it back again, and this potentially time to book it again. Potentially time to add it back again. Potentially time to book it again. Not sure here. Maybe add it again, maybe not. Maybe, this final move could just be nominally lower low and not pay out as good. So be careful playing 4 or 5. That's a difficult spot to play. Does not have to go that low. It may stop at the roadmap line. When we get there, that may be maybe looking something more like this. And we just get a little squeak lower by the time we get over there. So be careful out there. Bitcoin just churning. It's in the range we've been in for weeks. Weeks. Not really breaking out. Not breaking down. The longer this sits here, the more likely to me we're going to do this before we do this. Ethereum, really not participating. This has me concerned that when Bitcoin does a pullback, this is going to flush out to a lower low. NKD, hovering. Could get one spike and then flush. Not sure. Looks like we're setting up for the correction. It just looks like we're setting up for this correction so far. Not this global liquidity. This is my proxy for global liquidity. This is not indicating we're going higher right now. Not at all. Dollar just hanging. Little bitty uptrend of lows. Slightly, if you go like this, we're slightly poking through the bottom. That could result in one more dip down to a lower low. And then we could reverse. I do expect some sort of bigger reversal back up into the roadmap line area on the daily before we get continuation lower. We got really far away from it. We hadn't really been up with it since March 5th. We got really far away. It's just not typically what happens. We don't usually get really far away. So when we do get really far away, we tend to come back in the vicinity. So looking at the Mag 7 stuff, Apple, potential to come on down. If we do the market pullback, probably coming on down. Maybe even make a lower low. Amazon, probably doing a pullback. If not, making a lower low. Resistance still up here for all these. Resistance at the roadmap line at the 618. Resistance at the roadmap line at the 618. Resistance at the roadmap line and the 618. Same story. These all have the same kind of pattern. Resistance at the roadmap line and the 618, which we're already there. Microsoft, we're in the top of the danger zone. We've got actually resistance at the prior highs over here. This one a bit more bullish than most of the rest of them. This could still get a pullback, but it's set for a move up to this 480 to 500 area. Big picture. Nvidia in the zone of ambiguity, and that 618. I mean, it's same story, right? So we have a big downtrend we've built up, and this could easily go lower low down in the target's down in the 70s, right down here. I've had that on the chart for a long time. Been talking about it since somewhere around August last year. Whew. Love to just hit that already. Tesla, Salah. This one might, if we do the bigger market pullback, may very well do this before we can get the energy to bust up through that right there. All right, that's Mag 7 stuff, basically. Bum, 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 bum. And then wrong or worst favorite, Netflix. This looks ripe for a pullback. Ripe for a pullback. Remember the statistics, though. That level, 1448, 75% likely on the, this is a market roadmap bounce right here. We activated it right there. It was 75% likely to hit the 1.1448, which is 90% of the way to the 1272. Nerdy math numbers. That level was 70% likely to get hit. This level, 75%. But this level up here, maybe like, well, that looks like we're just going to rip on higher. Historically, 35%. So we lose half of the, we lose almost 50% likelihood to just go cruising on up to that 1618 level. Right there. Is it possible? Yep. I mean, 35% of the time, we'll just go cruising on up. So that's not, I mean, that's not bad. It's just lower probability. Higher probability from here is to come all the way back down to the roadmap line. If we're looking for a bigger market correction, that might do it. But at the same time, this thing, when you look at this right here, it didn't really flush out that giant move, and we're sitting at all-time highs on Netflix, whereas S&P, NASDAQ, Russell, almost nothing, none of the indexes are at all-time highs. This is sitting at all-time high. So this one's doing a different thing than most of the rest of the market. So if we get a pullback, it may not be that deep. We may only pull back a little bit and then go for the higher move. So it could just retest the breakouts on a pullback. Hold and go. Be careful. So I go pull everything moving $2 more up, put it on the gainers list. Just use a tool. I don't look at them. Then I pull everything moving $2 or more down, put it on the decliners list. I use a tool. I don't look at them. I just throw them on here and then come live. And then I grab the setups from last night. Some of them I've looked at, some of them I haven't. These are opportunities that set up my market roadmap pattern, just like Netflix here, with the entry last night triggering at the close, which means they are valid entries today, all of them. So the last couple weeks, I've been rolling through this list here, checking it out, looking for potential opportunities. You can see that one fired off right there. 53 trades, 73, and this has a net loser right here on BK. Do you want to get involved? I don't know. 93, 92 targets, FXI. This one fired off. I mean, they all fired off. All right. Look at this, 13 trades in the history. It does run hotter than the average, but with only 13 trades, the next, 17 trades to make it 30 in a statistical population, they could all be losers, and this one end up absolute sucking by the time it gets a statistical population. But we don't have to worry about, since it doesn't have a population, you just ignore these numbers here. And you go back to the default. The default for 56,000 trades is that we get a 75% win rate and a profit factor of 1.28. So 75% likely, I'm right up here. 40.33. GHC. This one fired off also. Got the high, we've got the low. 41 trades, 65%, running light and running on the average. So this one loses a little more than the average, and this is slightly, it's basically in line with the average. 41 trades is statistically significant. So that target on GHC is 1,027. Wow. Big numbers. IMAX. I would go with that high, this low. Fired it off right there. 29 is the target. These numbers don't mean anything. MCHI. I'm rolling through looking for ones that have more than 80% profitable and a profit factor bigger than 2. That's what I'm really looking for to put my money at risk, because that one's performing better than average. There's a target, 61, NPO. That one didn't trigger TradingView. Yeah, TradingView is looking at the bigger move. The tool I created found this smaller move, 191 would be the target, still valid. That bigger move may be what you want to wait for. But that 90, this could play out right here at 189 without having to wait for the bigger move. This one basically kicks off the bigger move as we get to that target, and then we have the potential to go on up. QFIN, and not really great numbers. 51 targets. SBG. This is that same algorithm firing off. All these alerts that pop up here constantly are this same algorithm running on all the different time frames. This one fired off for that move right there, 1770. Be careful on low price stuff. And then TCOM, trip.com. The algorithm actually found the smaller move right there, looking for 69.83. So none of these are particularly smoking hot. I mean, these numbers are running better, but if the next 11 trades are losers, it's going to erase this really quickly. So opportunities abound. Nothing smoking hot. For an example of something that I was looking for, like this one, I put my money into because 80 is, 83 is bigger than 80, and 2.3 is bigger than 2. And so this one historically outperforms the system. Right there. 331 is the target. The entry was back here. And we're just hovering. How long could this take? We've gone through that quite a bit. The average trade takes 45 days. 45 days. The standard deviation, though, is 35 days. These are trading days, candles. So if you actually go for 45 plus 3 standard deviations to get you into the 99% of the time, the 99 percentile, you'll be basically around 150 trading days or 220 calendar days. So if you want to have enough time for this to work out, plan ahead, make sure you have, that's longer than 6 months. I mean, it can take 7-8 months for these to play out. 99% of the time, they play out within 8 months. Now, the average is 45. And they can play out faster than, so statistical weirdness, if you're trying to buy options and you really, really, really don't want to run out of time, you got to play out that far. If you're trying to, just get a piece, move on, 45 days on average. So, and then you'd be like, well, do the losers take longer than the winners? And I don't have numbers for that. So can't say whether you should bail at some point or not. Now, looking at stuff that was moving. Interesting here, SMCI reported earnings, and we were down a bit in the pre-markets. Let's pull up the earnings list. So today we had Uber, Disney, Envio. Yesterday we had SMCI, AMD, Rivian, Tempest, ET. Whew, there's a bunch of stuff. And then after the close today, we've got AppLovin, Carvana, ARM, Cliffs, Axon, DoorDash. Tomorrow before they open, we get Peloton, Shopify, ConocoPhillips, D-Wave, Hut 8, Miner. We get some miners, Dutch Bros in here, DoorDash in here, Crocs in here. I have a trade open on that one. And Coinbase tomorrow after the close. We'll talk more about these tomorrow. So let's start ripping through a few of these and see what we got cooking. SMCI is on the list. On the losers list, AMD, gotta click on the chart, AMD, coming up into the resistance there. Didn't really move much on earnings. Rivian, didn't really move much on earnings. Tempest, it looks like we're getting a little weakness here. That could go back lower. ET, still below. Still well below the roadmap line. Let's make the chart bigger and turn off that. And ANET, some of you got involved in this from somewhere. I'm not sure who got you involved in this. That turned it down off the roadmap line. No bueno. That looks like we're going to come back down for a 618, just like most of the Mag 7s. Lots of people ask me about this, and I'm not sure who got y'all involved in it. So you can let me know, I guess, if if you want to. A-Lab. And a similar chart. That looks like we're going lower. Upstart. Similar turn down. Win results. Similar rejection. Be careful. It's been a downtrend. We've been cooking for a while on win, and this might be done. If we do a 618 and hold it and then break out higher, we're probably done with the downside, and we can look toward this bigger mega upside target. But right now, I'm not convinced we're done on the downside yet. So Uber reported before the open. Yeah, I thought we might pull back off the top of the box. Watch for this to come back down. Disney. Fingers on the wrong keys there. Disney, nice little pop. I still expect this to go lower low. I don't think it's done on the downside. I just looking at the bigger, longer term pattern, it just doesn't look done on the downside. NVO just hanging. I've sold a few puts on that lately, but I didn't have anything for today. Tiva. Yeah, that one might get the rally going here. Same sort of thing as the Mag 7s. We've got the resistance. And this could be a 5 down, so be careful. This move up, we could stop right here. We also have a large gap down resistance right there. Watch for this to bang off of that right there. Let's see, Unity. We broke the uptrend of lows, back tested. That's usually a sign we're going to flush lower. Be careful. Trying to get involved in that one. VST, we're looking for that close above the 618. Oh, HIMS did that yesterday. Yeah, this is a valid entry right here. If you want to play, I'm probably going to buy some shares because of the upside potential for this thing to rock and roll up to about basically a double to about 65. I'm probably going to play that. Historical win rate, 75%. I'm willing to take that bet right there. Rock and roll, baby. I triggered the entry there. I'm probably going to buy a few shares. I may not buy a giant amount, but let's see what else we had. We had gold, Barrick Mining. Not looking hot. I was warning about gold miners. They're looking played out along with gold. Flex. Be careful on that one. Not a big mover on earnings. And we had Oscar Health. Nice pop. That gets above this resistance right here. Going up to 26. And then BG. That looks bearish. Ugh. Stuck under the roadmap line. Ugh. AppLovin reports after the close today. I'm thinking downside potential. If we can get above that 618, upside 602, but it would look best with a little more downside. So that's the little bit of a coin flip there. Didn't quite finish the downside like I thought we would, but if we can get above that 618, and it may report good earnings and get above the 618 and go higher. Might. I don't think it can be immune to the bigger market pullback. ARM, that's under the roadmap line. I would watch for pullback. That's kind of three-wavy up. That can be continuation lower. I've been expecting this. Like, I thought we would go touch that. We did. We came back to the roadmap line. Now, decision point time. Do we break back above the 618 and go higher, or do we reject off and do an extension to a new low? That's a big question. And I don't have the answer right now. I'm not involved. It's unclear. And be careful. If you have to have some conviction on what you think is going to happen. Cleveland Cliffs, Was that the lowest low? I don't know. If it is, we could be setting up the measured bounce. That would set us targets way up here around 100. That's smoking hot compared to 8. But it also can extend down, break down below this support, and get an extension down to $1, which would not be good. So you've got the potential here would be you could buy shares now. The risk is about $3, $4 maybe. And you may want to risk down to the line in the sand right here. It'd be a $4 risk, about 50%, versus the upside, which would be like a ridiculous upside. Ridiculous. This is one where I might buy 100 shares just because the upside's like 2,000%. $50 downside versus a 2,000% upside. That's a pretty smoking hot risk reward, I feel like. And you can let me know in the chat how you feel about it. But those are the ones I really, those are my rocket ship pattern type things that I really like to find. AXON. This is holding that 618. Might get an extension back down in here. And DoorDash. That looks like we're going to come down again, back at least back to the roadmap line. Bros, Dutch Bros. These guys built a bunch of coffee shops here in Knoxville all of a sudden. Just sitting on the roadmap line. No high conviction play there. Oxy probably going lower. This probably needs a visit into the 20s. And then TBBB. Never even heard of that. That looks not bad. Set up to go higher. 37. All right. Then stuff before the open tomorrow. Peloton. And might retrace. Shopify. I expect that to pop on through, but they could retrace, especially if we get a negative FOMC reaction. COP. Looks like we're still grinding lower. Cuts. Here's a dumpster fire. Has a reverse split out there. Be careful. I don't like that stock for that reason. Warner Brothers Discover. Maybe we made a bottom. If we step across this line in the sand down here, and we came right down to it, if we get across that, probably pushing down to 6. But if we can hold here, it's technically a 3-wave retrace with a roughly bullish move up. Nice retrace down to a level that could measured bounce up out of here very enthusiastically. Not the giant numbers like we were just talking about. This is more like a $8 risk versus, $7. This is more like risk $1 for potential double. Not horrible. It's not like 2,000%, but so there you go. There's that one. All right. Let's look at a couple other things here. MSTR, grind in the danger zone. This might pull back to the roadmap line if Bitcoin pulls back. Just warning, we might see that pullback here before we bust on through. Upside, right up in there, 600, 700, possibly 1,000. Rockwell Automation. Yeah, nice pop-up. Just been sideways, though. I would be very cautious trying to... for me, JT is a trend pullback continuation trader. When I look at a chart like this, there's no trend. It's just sideways. This is sideways for a long time. I don't really expect big things out of something that's been going sideways for a long time. Lily's been kind of going sideways a long time. Talked about potential, and then it just keeps letting us down. And that's what happens when something enters this sideways junk. It tends to let us down on breaking out and running. MSTR, ASML, still in a downtrend. Be careful. Like there's no clear indication we're going higher. It's not getting continuation higher. Disney, that has that potential to drop back down. All right, be careful. In fact, I'm going to clear a bunch of this stuff off. Just really clearly look at this right here. We're at the 618. If we turn down right here, this can easily extend one more move down. Can easily get the extension. Extension can take us down to the 60 area like I was talking about. Honeywell, CEG, EA, AppLovin, Coin. Coin still hanging out under the roadmap line. TSM. And watch for that to retrace. Oscar's on there. ARCB, BidX. That probably going to retrace before we can pop. This is 2x leverage on Bitcoin. It just got that feeling like we're going to retrace before we can pop through. CRWD. That's probably coming back down the roadmap line, or at least the 618 before we can push through. It's very common that we see this fire off the entry, come up to the prior high, retrace, push on up, possibly get the extension, then retrace, then go for the extension higher. ONC, and coming back down the roadmap line. SRPT, going for new lows. ENTG, working on a potential reversal pattern here. If we hold this 618 and turn back higher, that could go higher. Marvell, and getting the 618 retrace potential. Possibly can hold this 53, 52 area, maybe even as low as 50, and then break back higher than this high. We're probably going to break on out of here. Maybe going up back up to like 150. It's like a 3x upside. ANET, we already talked about. ITW, a little bit of downside pressure. Let's see, Uber, we talked about. Ugly. And there's a 2x on Uber. Baba, let's see. We've got the potential to come back down, maybe even go lower. That's a measured bounce setup for going lower. Be careful right here on Baba. Can China play Let's Make a Deal, or do they get absolute wrecked? I don't know. PDD, which is Temu, announced they were not going to ship stuff to the United States. This one's been, this roadmap bounce trade set up all the way back here. That high, this low, activated right there, and then it's promptly set up the sideways chop. Now, still 75% likely to get up to 180, but how long might it take? Remember that 220-day thing. And this one's pushing the limit, as you can see already. 150 bars. This is starting to be the 1% exception that goes over the time limit. Hadn't stopped out. Hadn't rallied up. All right. Bias for the day, for those of you still left. And let's check it out. Check it out now. Let's see what we got. What we got cooking? Hey, good looking. What you got cooking? Let's see. S&P holding the 15-minute roadmap line. This can set us up for That last little pop. One more new high. And then we roll over. Like I said, this looks like a 3-wave correction into the roadmap line here. Standard stuff. It was proportionally correct. This high, this low. Here's the resistance right there. We push through it. We can see that pop. It could happen on FOMC 57.15. But if we pop up here and reject, could start that bigger downside. Those downside targets. Load her back up. Here's the low. Here's the high. Here is the target zone. Right down here. This will probably take place as if this is working out. I'll probably do a move like this, a retrace, and a finishing move. Something like that. Or, we either do it from here where we've already started, or we start from a little bit higher. Either way, 75% likely we're doing that. So be careful out there today. If you're a channel member, look for the link to go live a little bit later. So be careful out there today. You want to see VIX, and not really moving yet, but I'm long VIX. Along the 30 strike. We're just hovering. No clear indication what we're doing. So hovering. Yeah, 40, bounce to 40. That might be all we do. If we do a pullback, might come right there and then roll down. There's always opportunity that will go to new highs on VIX. Yeah, be careful out there today. I'll be back live. Channel members, if you want to be a part of the stream, become a channel member. It's only like $5 a month. Have a great day, everybody. See you later.